I'm here with Ursula Gutierrez, drama instructor at SAGU, and the cast of 12 Angry Jurors. Ursula, tell us a little bit about the background of the play.
This play is about 12 jurors who are deliberating a first-degree murder case of an 18-year-old Latino boy accused of stabbing his father to death. And the beginning of the play opens up with them wanting to know where they stand. 11 of them say guilty, 1 of them says not guilty.
Now, the ticket process, how do we go about that to ensure that we have a seat to the show?
Starting on Monday, there will be tickets in the lobby, and you can get them there. And it's very important that you have a ticket, because those are the first people that will be allowed into the door, are those that have a ticket in their hand.
Well, you heard it here. 12 Angry Jurors will be premiering October 18th through the 22nd at McCafferty Hall. We'll send it back to the game now.
Tim, halftime stats. A lot of things going well for the Lions so far.
Yeah, it's been a great half for them so far. They lead 21-0. Things have pretty much gone their way on the most important aspect so far. Leading the way, obviously, Reed Golson, 114 yards rushing and a touchdown. 80 of those obviously coming in that huge touchdown run to put the Lions up 21-0. Across the board, the Lions have rushed for 233 yards, which is about 100 over their average, I believe, already in the first half. So great job there. McDonald leading the way with receiving, 4 catches for 38 yards. Nicky Conham and Brad Heathcock both a pick. And this is interesting stat right here. Talk about how good the Lions defense has been over the last 4 Haskell drives. Those results of the drives have been turnover on downs, interception, turnover on downs, turnover on downs.
Wow.
So this defense has stood up strong when it needs to. The Lions are going to be getting the ball first now here in just a minute. Up 21. The chance to, you know, never too early to say put it away, but, I mean, it's at least make this a very comfortable lead here for homecoming.
And they're pitching a shutout now, 21-0 our lead. Let's go down now to the field for the second half of play as we wrap up the second half of homecoming game, Haskell versus SAGU.
All right, the Lions are back to receive now. They chose to defer to the second half. And they will go into the wind in the third quarter, wisely taking the option to potentially have the wind at their back in the fourth quarter, although if they have it their way, this won't be too close a game going in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly right. And so the wind at the backs of the Haskell Indians as they kick off, and it's going to be a good one.
Into the end zone, off McDonald's hands. No chance for a return there on what is the first Indians kickoff of the game. So now Reed Golson will lead the Lions onto the field.
Again, Golson, 114 yards on the ground, 80 of them coming in that one play, which we think may have been a busted play. It probably was. 233 yards total for your Lions, and 2 touchdowns by the unheralded Styles Winston, Tim.
Yeah, coming out of nowhere. He's touched the ball 6 times for 34 yards thus far. Pretty good game for him. Like I said, coming out of the wings. We weren't really expecting to see him today, and he's done a good job thus far as the Lions lead 21-0. Ready to start off the third quarter here at their own 25-yard line.
Golson will hand off to, that's going to be Styles Winston again, and he may have a yard as he tries to bounce outside for a minimal gain.
After put his helmet back on that one, yeah, he tried to test the middle.
And speaking of Styles Winston, Tim, did you know, today's Did You Know moment, Styles Winston is brother of Nia Winston, the leading scorer of our Lady Lions basketball squad. Yeah. I did not know that today.
I did not know that that was true, but Nia Winston, obviously, he said Lions leading scorer. She's a dominant force up there, and well, we'll be watching them pretty soon come January here on SAGU Sports Live. So
absolutely.
Can't wait to see Nia back in action out there.
Golson back in action in the shotgun, 2nd and 9. Styles again, Winston with the call. He's got running room. He sheds a handful of tacklers down near midfield. Oh, it is Lushner.
Up to the 48-yard line. I thought it was Cade, the way he got that ball and sprinted forward.
Their stature looks so similar. Sometimes I get confused by even who's got the ball. The stature, some of the The body size is close to the same. So it was Cade Luster, the junior, moving those chains again. Now the ball near midfield. First down, Lions.
This would be a great way to start the second half. Go ahead and put this lead up by 4 possessions and let the defense work from there, really, because the defense has been lights out since the first drive, really.
Golson rolls left on a design play, and he is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage by, that's number 2 on the play, Lane Freeman.
Comes into the backfield and trips him up before he's able to find any sort of daylight. That's
Freeman, 7 tackles already, we just learned on the game already.
So that'll bring up a 2nd and 11 now for the Lions at their own 45-yard line. As I mentioned, going into the wind, which, like I said, has remained strong throughout this entire game.
Golson sets Morphew, his old high school mate, wide right. McDonald left, and Lushner gets the call again.
And he's tripped up, got a shoestring tackle there. That's Freeman again, who just barely held on to Lushner. Otherwise, he might have had a lot more to go right there.
Now in comes the candy stripe. Winston, I just kind of look at the socks, Tim. Look at the socks, I can tell. Lushner's got the pink socks, and the striped candy stripe socks are belonging to Winston today. So Winston back in the game at 3rd and 5 now, the ball near midfield. As one wide receiver goes far left, one short right. Golson back to pass, rolls right. He's in trouble, throws up a prayer, and it is intercepted and then dropped. He had it in his hand. Number 32, Wilbur Everett, had the ball in his hands. And
Nick Morphew with the defense there going up to really break up, which from the moment it left Golson's hand, it looked like it was a for sure interception, essentially throwing into triple coverage. But Nick Morphew comes in and wrestles the ball away. And now facing 4th and 5 with a 21-point lead, the Lions will not risk losing possession near midfield, and they will punt this one away.
Against the wind, falling off his back foot, scrambling right. It just didn't add up to be a good pass play, and it was definitely
and he lucked out that it was not intercepted.
Here's the punt from Lions, and that's fielded and fair caught at the 18-yard line. So Haskell University will get their first possession of the 3rd quarter with 12:50 left in this ball game, trying to get some points on the board as they trail 21-0.
We've been saying that for the last few drives, and Haskell has managed to get beyond midfield. They weren't able to do that really in the first quarter, but with the wind at the back in the second quarter, they managed to get some momentum, riding Dupree and Ponzi able to get a few passes over the middle, but they've all petered out. They had the interception down at the 28-yard line, had the interception to Brad Heathcock, down 14-0.
Only netted 110 yards, Tim, on 44 plays. That's 2.5 yards a play. So the Haskell offense needs to really get on track to make this a ball game in the second half. New quarterback in, and he is dragged down for a sack and a loss.
Dalton Snyder comes right through there.
Terrell Ramsey, the junior from Veneta, Oklahoma, the new quarterback in for the Indians, and quickly is introduced to the Lions defense, and that's a sack.
Yeah, Snyder chased him down, brought him down immediately. His position is listed as ATH. I honestly don't know what that stands for.
Athlete. He's an athlete. He is the athlete. Here's a run over the right side, still on his feet, and then tripped up finally just past the 25-yard line. We'll get our statisticians on that, Tim. We're going to get an answer for you. We're going to find out before this game is over what does ATH mean in the program. We will get that for you, folks. And that's important. Tim is desiring to know this. We all want to know this.
We're being told it means athlete, which kind of sounds like a cop-out. So, 3rd and 13. Back to pass.
Ramsey.
And he's thrown down. He comes in for the game and quickly gets sacked twice. And so the Indians will face 4th and a mile and will again march their punter out. Again, look at that.
Snyder again?
Looked like it was Snyder again coming through the backfield. 2 sacks on that drive. Effectively, immediately snuffing out any chance for the Indians to get any sort of momentum right back. And so they will punt out of their own end zone with the wind at their back. Here's their unsure on the play.
All-terrain halfback? I don't think that's it. We're still thinking. I don't think athlete's the right answer.
Back to receive for the Lions, Deontay Morrison.
We're working on this. We have a crack staff here with SAGU Sports TV. We're going to find out what ATH means. 4th and 6. Here's the punt right at the goal line. And not a bad kick, Tim. Going to be fielded right at midfield. And he's going to take it. That's going to be Morrison. That is Morrison.
Morrison is going to get knocked back into SAGU territory. Fielded about the 49, and it seemed like Brad Heathcock trying to assist in the block got pushed back. And so now the Lions will take over at their own 49, 10:54 remaining in the third quarter. Big opportunity here, just 51 yards away from the end zone. Last drive kind of ended when the running back was unable to pick up just enough, and the pass fell incomplete, but
there's the run by Winston.
Winston will break into Haskell territory. In the end, though, the choice to punt for the Lions works out perfectly to their favor. They get the ball back with about a minimal loss of 1 yard, and he said it's good when you can trust your defense. When you can either A, trust your defense to have the courage to go for it on 4th down, or B, just say punt it away. You know, you're not worried about giving up that big play in the situation. And the Lions have the ball right back where they need it.
Golson in the shotgun pack to pass. And
Almost
right through the hands of McDonald, the intended receiver, and behind him was the safety, number 20, Ken Koo, 1-star, who had a look at it, but it zipped past his hands as well. Golson lucky in that play, wasn't picked off.
Yeah, tried to get his hands up in time, but it wouldn't happen for the Indians. Now 3rd and 8 for the Lions, just inside Indians territory. 3rd and a long 8.
I tell you, the way this game is progressing, Tim, I think the only way the Lions lose this game is on turnovers.
Well, don't say that too often.
Huge mistakes in turnovers.
That's like saying no-hitter during a no-hitter.
Yeah,
you don't say turnovers.
Let's not say that.
And the Lions,
and
there was movement on the front. It looked like number
Fingers
90.
are pointing.
Yeah, there'll always be fingers pointing. It looked like number 97, I believe, for the Indians might have encroached on that situation.
Yep, and they're going to call that.
And that call. The Lions begin applauding. They will move the ball 5 yards forward, and the Lions now face a much more manageable 3rd and 3, and this puts the Lions back into what we would consider 4-down territory. If they were able to stop them there, 4th and 8, you probably would not really envision going for it on fourth down, but now 2 runs would almost seem to be a guarantee the way they've been able to run against this defensive line.
When you're averaging 5 yards a rush, why not? So we'll see what happens. On 3rd and 3, Golson, run right option. He's going to keep himself. He's got the 1st down, and then some. Pass at 35, down at 34-yard line.
Great job right there on the option. Identifying that the defense was giving him that hole. They could not, if you watch right here, they could not give up on Winston. They had to keep their eyes on Winston, and because of that, Golson was able to just get to that point where the coverage ended. Gets down to the 35-yard line. The Lions are on the move again, trying to stretch their 21-0 lead.
He knew he would outrace the defensive ends, but it was the linebackers that he was worried about. They tripped him up, not before he gained a 1st down. So Lions on the prowl. Golson looking for everything. He's got a man. Oh, just outside the outstretched arms of an intended receiver.
That's McDonald. Went right through his hands. He had it for what would seem to be a for sure touchdown. It's hard to say that's just a drop by any means, but Golson laying it into the wind, throwing it 35 yards into the wind and almost laying it in perfectly.
Very impressive. It's hard to time your pass when you got a 25-mile wind against you.
And Golson unable to connect with McDonald on that one. So bring up a 2nd and 10. The Lions did not pass for much in the first half. They only passed for 59 total yards, but obviously when you run for 233, you don't have to worry about too much in the air.
Exactly. Here's another run from Winston around the left side. Good blocking up front. And Winston take advantage of that. He's into the red zone, mark it down that 17, 18-yard line.
Mark it back probably. There's a flag on the field, again in the area of holding, and it will be a hold on the Lions.
Well, again, sometimes the holds are there because of the hold, so it looked good at first, but the ref saw something inside the scrum, and it's going to make the Lions march backwards and put them closer to midfield. It could be around the 40-yard line, Tim?
We'll see where the actual holding call was marked on. I believe they're saying the holding occurred at about the 34-yard line because they're marking back to the 44.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a 10-yard penalty from the 34, 9-yard penalty overall, and the Lions will face 2nd and 19. Penalties haven't been a huge issue for the Lions, and they've been able to overcome them in the past for this game.
Today, 5 for 45 yards, and up to halftime, it was just 1 penalty for the Indians. But overall, you're right. They've handled the penalties much better this game.
And they haven't come at the inopportune moments like they have in the past. Winston again. He'll barrel down to about the 39-yard line.
Umbrellas are out, but I think it's more for the wind than the rain. Although I do see some rain on the ground, so it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, the rain has reemerged on a cloudy homecoming here in Waxahachie with intermittent rain showers.
You know what Waxahachie means in Indian? I heard this. This may not be true. Ready for this?
You better be careful with this.
You ready for this?
We're going to get fact-checking emails for a week after this.
Check this. After this play, I'll tell you what Waxahachie means in the native Indian language.
The viewers are hanging with bated breath,
I'll tell you just moments. It's going to blow your mind. Golson rolls right. He's going to keep it himself. Puts his head forward, and he gets down about the 34-yard line, maybe the 33-yard line.
Definitely won't have enough for a first down there. Bring up probably a 4th and 9.
Okay, so we've got rain and we've got wind today. Not too bad, but a little bit for us to notice. But I've been told that the word Waxahachie in the native Indian tongue from those who settled, the Indians who settled in this part of Ellis County many years ago, Waxahachie means tornadoes don't come here. Oh, now I'm being told it means Buffalo Creek. So I've got conflicting.
Like I said,
I've been given conflicting issues because I've been told from trusted sources back in the 90s.
2 seconds in,
when I was here years ago, it means tornadoes don't come here.
4th and 9 for the Lions. Golson goes back.
And here's the pass, wide open. He's got Morphew in for the touchdown, and there's the Grandview connection.
Morphew gets wide open down the right side. Golson looks his way and hits him on a perfect pass. The Lions go for it on 4th and 9, and it pays off. They're up 27-0 as Golson to Morphew works. Looking right there, sees he has the open man, and just puts it up almost over Morphew's head. Morphew had to do a little half jump for it.
Well, touchdowns do come here. We know that for sure. May or may not be tornadoes. We'll figure that out. But touchdowns are in plenty of supply here at Lumpkin Stadium as they are now about to go up. Your Lions 28-0 pending this Gish kick, who is now remaining perfect on the year. So your Lions putting it to the Indians early in the second half.
Yep, now up 28-0. Great play right there. You see President Bridges taking cover under the rain. Also, Cassie Cox right there sitting front row.
With our camera crew nearby.
Enjoying a little bit of football after their 3-2 win over St. Thomas this morning. They'll be right back in action actually tonight.
They trailed 8-4 and also 11-8 and won that 5th game on a combo block by Cassie Cox, who we just showed you, and Taylor Calverley. So our Lady Lions stepping it up when it counts here in conference play.
Absolutely, 4-1 in conference play. That's going to put them near the top of the division, and that's what you want to win. You want to win those games early on, but if you don't, you can always recover. So, and that's exactly what they have done. And they seem very poised to yet again launch themselves into another Red River Conference tournament. Their last Red River Conference tournament. This is the last year for the Lions, obviously playing in the Red River Conference.
Right.
So we'd all like to get back one more time and get to play in those respective tournaments, have some memorable moments. So the Lions will line up to kick it away here now, holding on with a 28-0 lead after a 7-play, 51-yard drive, which ended on a long pass from Golson to Morphew, 3:18 off the clock. Again, only 51 yards. That's all he had to go because the defense did a good job pinning Haskell deep.
34 yards on that touchdown pass from 2 former high school teammates. Now both lines together. And here's a short kick by Gish, taken by with the up man. And clobbered and a loose ball! And the Lions have it!
Wow! It was a high bounce off of the kickoff.
Frank Age-Maple.
Frank
Age-Maple with the recovery on a short kick taken by one of the short men, and he didn't know what hit him.
And it looked like perhaps perhaps Jonathan De Leon, who had the initial hit, which just jarred that ball loose. It was a high bounce, and you have to field those. That's a live ball as soon as it hits past 10 yards. So he did the right thing. He had to field it, but the Lions right on top of him. Solid, hard hit. And just like that, the Lions are in business at the Haskell 20-yard line, trying to make this
a blowout.
Exactly. Midway through the third quarter, trying to establish a very safe lead. Golson's back with Lushner behind him and 4 wide.
2 right, 2 left. Ball sits up on the right hash mark. Here's Golson, back to pass. Looks right, throws right. He's got a man. Oh, through the hands of the intended receiver, Austin Martinez. That was 6 right there for the taking.
Yeah, threw it right up for Austin Martinez. Very similar to the play he just threw to Morphew. A bit more elevated, though. Martinez just did not have what it takes to get up to that one. He's not the highest person in stature, that's for sure. He's just measuring in at 5'10", and, well, they always add an inch or two to their height in the score sheet, but I'll give him 5'10". But that one falls incomplete.
Martinez with perhaps the play of the season a few weeks ago on that catch, then fumbled and pickup by Austin, who ran it in for the score. But now here's Golson. He's going to scramble right. He's going to take it himself around the outside, stiff arms the defender. And here comes the flag as he gets ducked out around the 17-yard line.
Now, hands were in faces there. Golson threw his hand in the defender's face. It could be face mask.
Offensive face mask.
Offensive, possible. It looked like number 40 for the defense. That's Trent Bell. May have had a hand on Golson's face mask, too. So we'll see what the official ruling is here from the man in the white hat. They are making sure they have the ball spotted correctly first. Face mask on the defense.
The other way. It's going to be on the defense.
They will mark it off against the Indians. Half the distance to the goal.
Half the distance to the goal from this distance.
Inside the 30-yard line, they march it off half the distance to the goal. So the Lions now first and goal from about the 7.5-yard line.
Here comes Nick Morphew back into the game, and out for the Lions comes Matt Umfenauer. So a man who just scored a touchdown, Nick Morphew, perhaps looking for more as he slides out to the far left.
He's got single coverage out there, and he has the advantage definitely against Jeremy Barr.
I think it's going to happen.
Handoff
instead it's to Lushner. He's inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line. It'll be second down and 4 with now under 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and the Lions comfortably up 28, looking to make it 35-0, which you never want to say never, but that would be really difficult for this offense from the Indians to come back from that kind of deficit with a quarter and a half of play left.
Yeah, Jeremy Bargy out there who's 5'8". You got to like the advantage that Morphew has over him. If that's matched up again like it is right here, you would have to think that this is where they're going to go. Golson looking back, and
he's going to throw short left, and it's a touchdown for the Lions. Number 17, Frank Agemaple.
Number 13, Craig Campbell Jr., actually.
Oh,
Craig Campbell
check that,
Jr.
You're right.
We haven't called his name all season. We've called it twice today. A short pass in the first half and a little short touchdown here. Finds the man underneath, connects for the touchdown. The Lions have jumped ahead 34-0 after the fumble on the kickoff by Haskell.
The freshman from California, Pinole Valley High School, Chris Campbell. Sorry about that, Frank. We'll get you one touchdown hopefully in the next few minutes or next games, but that one's going to go to Chris Campbell, and here's the extra point from Gish, and it's good. So 35-0, your Lions comfortably up on the Indians from Lawrence, Kansas. And Tim, another good offensive drive. Short one, but they punched it through.
Yeah, and that's all they had to do. I mean, we get the ball to the 20-yard line. They took safe plays. They didn't try throwing it up high for grabs. They got what they knew they could get. And now with 6:20 left, they
4 plays, Tim, 20 yards, just a minute 33, like you said. 5-yard pass from Golson to Campbell.
And this is kind of been the way this match has gone. Like we said, the Lions, in the past 4 times these two teams have met, have won 66-14, 38-14, 29-15, and 46-2. Fans hanging out up there as the rain continues to pour down. The crowd has thinned a little bit with the Lions apparently safely in the lead and the rain continuing to pour as the umbrellas are out.
And the skies look a bit ominous, Mr. Roberts, so we may have more rain coming sometime in the fourth quarter. And It's not dark enough to turn the lights on, but they almost could. It's getting rather cloudy and dark up above.
Definitely getting dim out there as the Lions, things are not looking dim for the Lions, though. They're up 35-0 with 6:20 left in the third quarter, trying to get back on track, push their record to 2-4, try to start reclaiming this season and achieving some goals they haven't been able to in the past.
Dish with a kick, another short one to the same place, short left. That's a fair catch by the same receiver who I think had the fumble before.
Troy Romero calls a fair catch wisely that time. He didn't on the previous one, and he paid for it in a big way. Now the Indians will come back out.
You know, Tim, I think a win like this for the Lions is really good for the entire ball club, top to bottom. It snaps a 3-game losing streak if they were able to hold on here, which hit 2-4. And a win can cover over a multitude of sins that you feel about your team. You feel much better about your chances. Even though it's a blowout, it's good to get that W.
Absolutely, and that's what they need to hold on to right now. You don't want to start letting Haskell get any sort of momentum on this drive. This is actually a pretty important drive. We've seen crazier things happen here before, so you want to be able to just keep Haskell shut down, keep him out of the end zone. The rain continues to pour down. Haskell comes down, trailing by 35.
Pansy, he's going to throw right, and that's a catch. And he is shoved out of bounds at the 31-yard line. A gain of about 3 on the play brings up 2nd and 7 as the clock rolls. Now nearing 6 minutes left in the third quarter play, and the rain continues to trickle down at Lumpkin Stadium. And Ponzi going with no huddle offense. He's going to hand off up the middle, and he's met by a cloud of Lions, and he is stood up and finally brought down. Maybe a gain of 1 on the play.
Now big third down here if they want to keep this drive going, lest they be forced to try a very risky 4th down play in their own territory. At this point, you'd almost have to, though. Sure. If you have any vision of trying to win this game or get back into it, put up a fight, you would need to go for it on 4th down here.
Monson Harjo sets up behind Ponzi. He's going to pass. He's got a man open. Are they going to pull it a catch?
They're calling it incomplete. It's a close call, but he
real close.
Must not have been able to pull it in all the way. So now 4th and 7.
He was sliding down as he caught it, and the ball apparently hit the ground around the same time it hit his hands, and that's an incomplete pass. So
the Indians will send in the punt unit here.
Well, the wind's at their back, so maybe perhaps that's one reason why they're going to go ahead and punt it. But you know, if you're the Indians, you're down 35-0. Maybe you shouldn't punt it. Here's a bad snap, and he's in trouble.
And he is taken down.
No chance to kick the ball on that one, Tim, as the Lions stop him at the 17-yard line, and a great field position again where the Lions offense can go to work and make short work of this Indians defense. Could maybe go up 42-0.
Now the ball got rolled back to the punter. He was unable to ever pick it up. By the time he did, it was too late to punt it. It gets brought down for a big loss. So the Lions took over on the 20 on the last drive after the turnover, and will take over at the 17 now, actually after technically a turnover on downs after the failed punt try. 1st and 10 from the 17.
2 receivers, single set, left and right. And Golson's got 2 running backs, one's left, one behind him. And here's the play, and it's going to be going off to Styles Winston around the left tackle, and he squirts forward to about the 13-yard line.
Little gain right there, and that's what's worked for the Lions all day. They haven't had to worry about going deep or picking it all up at once. They've been able to pick it up piece by piece. Now facing a 2nd and about 6.
Now, I know in high school, if it's a 40-point lead or higher, that they begin what's called a running clock, to where even if it's an incomplete pass, clock continues to run. Not sure about NAIA rules. We'll have to check on that for you. But if they go up by more than 40, you might see this 4th quarter go by in a quick hurry.
I know that in the past, running clocks have been used with SAGU on the opposite end, but those games were closer to 55 or 60 points. We'll see if that comes necessary as Winston goes off left, has the corner. He's in for the score, but there is a flag. We'll wait on that, as that has been in the territory of holding most of the day for the Lions. The moment Winston's in the end zone, but we'll wait on the call, and by the reaction of the Lions offensive players, this will be a hold, and it is.
And where the flag landed is, again, where they throw the flag indicates many times if it's a hold in that vicinity along the line of scrimmage. And it looks to be a hold, as the Lions will now march backward. But good run by Styles Winston.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Winston
the
really
candy-striped streaker with 2 touchdowns already, streaking in the end zone, but called back on the hole.
So now 2nd and 15 for the Lions at the 17-yard line. Or perhaps 2nd and 10, sorry, 2nd and 10. The flag will be thrown at the spot. It was technically at a first down when he got the flag thrown. They're still debating where to place the ball, and they'll move back 1 yard, so it will be 2nd and 11
yes.
from the 18-yard line.
So the Lions set up shop again in great scoring position here. Let's see if they can punch it in again. Perhaps Winston will get the call. Morphew sets up wide right. McDonald left. McDonald.
And timeout by the Indians, it would appear.
Look for a moment, he's going to be in motion, and McDonald's walking off the field because the timeout was called on the field. Goding wants to talk it over as there's 4:22 left in this ball game with the Lions
left in the third quarter.
In the third quarter, 35-0, and wow, this feels good if you're a Lions fan after 3 straight losses. To look at that scoreboard and see that you've got the 35, not the 0. That's got to feel good if you're on the sidelines there listening to Coach Goding talk to your team.
Especially for the last 3 games here at home. All 3 losses here at Lumpkin Stadium this year have come by the narrowest of margins, coming down to the final minutes, the final plays. All of them, the Lions have come up short. These players have something to look forward to with the fourth quarter now, though. Leading by 35, barring disaster, it looks like the Lions will have a very good fourth quarter, just kind of milk the clock, run it down, and bring home their 2nd win of the year.
And you mentioned this earlier, this would be the first win on this field in about 23 months against this same Haskell team. So it's a lot of good things happening today for the SAGU Lions.
Since Lumpkin Stadium was renovated, the Lions have not won a game here. They won the home opener last year, but that game was held in Midlothian due to construction here at Lumpkin Stadium.
Right.
But so it's been almost 2 years since the Lions have won here at Lumpkin Stadium.
Golson hands off to Styles Winston.
Lushner down to the 22-yard line.
I get these socks right.
So a gain of 1 will bring up 3rd and 10.
Tricking down now, 4 minutes left in the third quarter. And Goding really in no hurry to call the play. They just may want to take this clock down with near 5-10 seconds left and just let this game expire as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely never too early to start milking the clock when you're up by 35.
10 seconds on the game clock now. Morphew goes in motion. Golson's going to roll right. He's got a mannequin option. He's going to keep himself. And he does decide the option. And
Lushner
fumbles. A fumble.
And Golson gets on it.
Wow.
Golson saves Lushner, who is flipped in the air and loses the ball.
He's slow in getting up, Tim.
Yeah, he's slow in getting up. Not surprising because he was absolutely belted and spun in the air.
Here it is again. He does decide to keep it. He says, no, I'll give it to Lushner. And there it is. Wow, look at that flip. The ball comes loose. Lushner off the field, thankfully, walking under his own power.
Seems to be okay. Looks like it might just be a stinger.
Here it is again.
He does lose the ball in midair, though. Very good job by Golson to quickly dive in on it.
You know, most quarterbacks, when they do that, they want to back out of the play, get off the field, and where the action is. He followed the play, heads up, and was the only man in the vicinity who could have got that ball.
And now here comes James Gish trying to make this a 38-0 game. It'll be a 34-yard field goal attempt for Gish.
To stay perfect on the year, Gish, here's the kick. It's got enough leg. Is it?
No good.
I think the wind pushed it left.
No good from Gish, and Gish's perfect average ends with the Lions up by 35. The good news is up by 35. The bad news, James Gish is now 7 for 8 on the year.
He is not happy on the sidelines. He wants to keep that record perfect as he tosses his helmet on the ground, and it's tough to kick in the wind. Although it's 31-yard lines, it's well within his range, but that wind is swirling and pushing left, and Gish unable to put that through. So the Lions will give the ball back to the Indians with under 3 minutes left, and down 35-0. Gish has got to be just bummed, but it's okay.
Yeah,
the sun will rise tomorrow.
Yeah, that's just one of the disappointing things. You're 7 for 8 now in the year, but the good news is you're 5 for 5 on extra points today. And any day you get to kick 5 extra points, you're up 35-0. Can't be a bad day.
Here's a screen play, and it's incomplete pass.
No,
it was actually a live
now they're
ball,
rolling
wasn't
incomplete. It looked like
he threw it forward just enough, so the referees called it incomplete. But you're right, it could have been a fumble. It's behind the line or behind the vertical line, east to west.
So now 2nd and 10 for the Indians.
Here comes Pansy. He's going to have 2 receivers right, 1 left.
Ball
and
is
there's
loose.
a ball that's loose on a muffed handoff, and they just fall on it, and lucky to still have it.
Loss of 7 there. Just looks like it was a bad exchange between Pansy and Dupree. Ball just falls straight to the ground. Dupree falls on it back at his own 13.
Nothing going right for the Indians today. They're struggling to make any offensive output happen for them in the second half. And you know what, Tim? You're inside your own 20. If it gets to 4th down, do you go for it with the wind at your back, or do you just punt it away and try to not make the score even higher than it is? I don't know.
It's always hard to say whether you're more concerned with that 1% chance to get back in the game or not looking worse on the lead.
Pansy rolls right, throws right, deflected, tipped in the air by number 24, Jason Bethel.
Bethel
which brings up 4th down.
Bounce it away, and the Indians will bring the punt unit onto the field again. You lose it using less than a minute on the clock on that drive. Their drives have been so quick in this half thus far, looking real fast. So far their drives, 1:56, 1:33, and it looks like this drive will be less than a minute. So they've had the ball 3 times in this half, and they've held on to it for less than 3 minutes. This punt snap's a lot better than the last one.
Backtracking, taken at the 45-yard line. No fair catch. He's going to take his chances. He's got some running room. Still on his feet, past midfield, out the 45. Still on his feet, and then ripped down to the ground around the 42-yard line. Looked like maybe a face mask, Tim, but no flags on the play, and that's a nice return by
Brad Heathcock. Takes it himself and just keeps going and wrestled to the ground around the 41. He had enough space, he felt like, to take it, and he's able to move it forward. Generally, he ends up calling a lot of fair catches because the punts are high and too risky to take. But that time, it would not be the case. So now, ball to 41, less than 2 minutes left. The Lions can really start running this clock out, even though we haven't got to the 4th quarter yet.
Sure. I mean, you don't want to embarrass a team. You want to play hard and play fair, but up this much, you just want to make them play fair, but let the clock keep running. And running is what the Lions will do, as Winston getting a lot of carries today, Tim. I think it's the first time we've called his name all year, and he's got a handful of carries and 2 touchdowns. Running really well for the Lions.
It's interesting to note that we've seen Winston this much. We have not seen Sean Haynes
at all
come into the game. We know he was injured earlier this year, missed a few games. As I'm looking down now, I have yet to spot his number on the sideline as possible. Sean Haynes is unavailable at the moment for the Lions, which has led Winston's big day.
Another call to Winston around the right guard. Here comes a flag in the play. He's dragged down to the 28-yard line. We'll see what the flag is.
Something about Winston makes these guys want to hold, I believe. They just know that they have a chance to break them big, and they will move this back, it appears, off of yet another holding call, which would negate what was close to a 1st down up.
He'll stay in the game. Bring up they're going to mark it back. A 10-yard penalty?
Yes, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and that'll move back to the 44. We have had a spotting now of Sean Haynes. He is on the sideline, but he's without shoulder pads underneath his jersey, so he is unavailable for this game at the moment. Bring up 2nd and 14 for the Lions.
Great job by our crew up here in the booth to give us all the details and information for you today. SAGU Sports Live. Appreciate our crew to make us behind the scenes to make it a great game for you. As
Winston again.
Winston again on the carry. Maybe 2 on the play.
As mentioned it before, but it's happening again. The rain is pouring down here at Lumpkin Stadium. More fans taking cover, perhaps heading for the exits. Content that they've probably seen most of what's going to happen in this game with the Lions leading 35-0.
Very possible.
But a devoted few packing by the sideline there. Going to hang around and enjoy the end of hopefully what will be a good 4th quarter of just basking in victory for once here at Lumpkin Stadium.
And they might let this clock run out. No, they do call it, and they're going to call Winston's number again, and he is tripped up. down around the 35-yard line, and that would be the last play of the third quarter as the horn sounds and the teams will switch sides at the 50. And we'll be back right after this commercial break as the Lions lead 35-0 against the Haskell University Fighting Indians.
Welcome back. The Lions lead 35-0. Well, we mentioned all game that these two teams have a long history against each other. It was 2 years ago on homecoming, actually, as the Lions and Indians faced off against each other. The Indians actually led 12-7 at the half, but the Lions took the lead back on this touchdown. The story of the game, though, was Eddie Bailey, the running back, ran for over 200 yards on the game and 2 touchdowns, the most impressive which was this 29-yarder as he spins around, stays alive, gets around the right corner, and takes it all the way to the house for the touchdown. He was fired up, and with good reason, as the Lions were having a good homecoming that day. A lot sunnier than we was today for sure. The defense was able to put it away right here on a 50-yard catch and scoop off of a fumble into the end zone as the Lions would hang on to win this one 29-15. This was the last win at Lumpkin Stadium for the Lions to date.
There it is.
The fans were enjoying it then. They're enjoying it now. They were just a lot drier back then in November of 2010.
Here's Golson now. He's going to run right and keep it. And he puts his head forward and he meets a handful of Indian defenders, and he's near the first down marker, but just about a yard or two short. So that'll bring up 4th down, and here comes the punting unit for the SAGU Lions. Just out of Gish's range, although the wind is with you this time. Godding electing to go ahead and punt the ball back to the Indians.
The wind is never really with you, though. It can.
It's more that. Yeah, it's true. It is more that way than the other way. But you're correct.
It's at your back, but as we've seen with the last time, it can push it out
shift a little bit.
So 4th and 1. Oh, wait, we're here now. That was a 4th down. So the Lions turn over on downs and don't get down.
There'll be no punt. There's just going to be a turnover right there at the 33-yard line. Here's a screen play, pass complete. Up near the 32, and he is shoved down. Clock keeps running.
Before that last play, the Lions have amassed 308 yards on the ground for the day. Reed Golson with 130 of those in a touchdown. Reed Golson has also thrown for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. So great day so far. Starting quarterback for the Lions. Cade Lushner and Styles Winston have 70 and 63 yards apiece on the ground, as Jerry McDonald still leads the team with 38 yards receiving.
And here's another running play. Straight up the middle. Just about a yard short of the first down, looks like. It'll bring up 3rd and 1 for the Indians, who have a total, Tim, of just 86 yards on the entire game. And now I think they're going to go ahead and mark that a first down. They are. It just squirt past the first down marker. So here come the Indians again. Another play up the middle. And there's that defensive front of the Lions saying, not this time, my friend. So that'll bring up 2nd and probably about 12. I was going to say 86 yards, Tim, total on the game through 3 quarters for Haskell on 54 offensive plays. That's 1.6 yards a play. That's not going to win many ball games for you.
And most importantly, that's 86 yards after they had 110 at the half. So all they did was lose yards. They lost 20 total yards in the 3rd quarter.
Another screen play, and it's caught down past the 50, still on his feet. Finally pulled down around the 43-yard line. That's number 22, I believe, Will Wood again on the play for Haskell.
So with all the sacks the Lions had, as well as the muffed punt snap, which resulted in officially a run of about -18, the Indians actually end up losing over 20 yards total in the 3rd quarter.
Well, they're moving the ball now. Another 1st and 10, and there's a handoff over the right guard, and a handful of Lions led by number 47 and number 99. That's Trevor Van Kempen and Rodney D.J. Johnson on the tackles.
Before this drive started, Dalton Snyder was leading the team with 2 sacks. Mohamed Mansouri had 1 forced fumble on the day, as well as 2 total tackles. Obviously, Nicky Conham with the interception. The ball's tipped up in the air and will fall to the ground. It looks like number 84 for the Indians, Antonio Rivera, will go to the ground in some pain. So he will now be attended to by some trainers. It's hard to tell exactly what happened there as the ball got tipped in the air. He suddenly went to the ground, put his head to the ground, obviously in pain.
And he's walking off the field now under his own power. It's always good to see. You hate to see any injuries in football. It's a violent game as it is, so I hope he's okay. He's Brady Ford steps off the field, which brings up now 3rd and 7 for Haskell. And the good news for them is they're actually in SAGU territory, so that's a positive. And you know, if you're the Lions, if you're the Indians coach, you want to put at least 7 on the board, have at least something to take away that wasn't a shutout. You're probably going to lose the game. You want to put some points on the board for your offense.
Yeah, but you never stop fighting. It's the one thing. You never stop playing at all. Just keep on pushing, and you never know. Crazy things happen sometimes. With 13 left, the Lions lead by 35.
Another screen play, and it's dropped, but he kept running because it may have been a fumble. Wasn't sure, but they're going to rule that incomplete. But a smart heads-up play by Bronson Harho, because that ball could have been ruled a fumble. So he's smart to keep running, although he took a hit. Incomplete pass, which brings up now 4th and 7, and I don't see a punting unit, so.
Oh, definitely not. Not the Lions 40 with a chance to perhaps notch your first points of the afternoon.
2 receivers left, 1 right. Ponzi back, throws short to his running back, and he's open and then down. He's going to be about 3 yards short, and out comes the SAGU offense again, a turnover on downs, Tim.
So now the Lions offense will come out with now under 13 minutes remaining, up by 35. They can really just start to
run the ball, let that clock
run the ball
down,
and just, again, it's never over till it's over. But for the moment, and a new quarterback coming for the Lions. Reed Golson is on the sideline as number 6,
Josh Harris,
the sophomore from California. I've heard a lot about him. He has a big arm, and he comes in immediately, and the Lions have a false start. So, welcome.
It's all your fault, Josh. It's all your fault.
An illegal shift, actually, on the Lions.
See.
And 12 men on the field.
We're just teasing you.
And so 5 yards will get marked right back off, and it'll be 1st and 15 down to the 31-yard line. You know, I want to go back to the second quarter on what was perhaps the turning point of the game. Okay. The Lions up by 14, had the fumble by, I believe it was Styles Winston, down around the 25-yard line of Haskell. Haskell began to really push down the field without much time left, about halfway through the second quarter. Chance to maybe cut 14-7, and Brad Heathcock with that heads-up interception at the 20-yard line. The next play, of course, was Reed Golson's monster 80-yard touchdown run. That 2-play swing, it looked like Haskell was able to possibly go in the end zone or kick a field goal, as for the first time today, the sun peeks out over the clouds somehow. I'm not sure where it found a hole, but it did. But that play right there, with a chance to maybe cut the lead in half and make this a ball game, Heathcock with a huge interception, and obviously Reed Golson with the run of the year for the Lions, made it 21-0, and ever since then, Haskell's never really had as much fight in him. We've never seen that aggressiveness we saw in that one drive.
And get your sunglasses out. It's near sunny out here now. What is the deal in Waxahachie as their running game pushed the Indians defense back on their heels for a nice 4-yard gain. We're yet to see a throw from Josh Harris, but that could happen now as it's 3rd and long, medium longish. We'll call it as well, the sun is back. It does exist.
It's beaming through a gap in the clouds now on what has been it's been a back and forth weather day, but not a back and forth football game. The Lions have dominated from the onset of the game. We've seen sudden downpour and now blinding sunshine, though. So obviously just another day in Texas with the weather.
And I like this play by Goddard to give Golson a break. You don't want an injury happen when you're up 35-0. And here's a pass by Harris, complete, caught near midfield. That's number 14, Dylan Moore on the catch. And that's a first down, SAGU Lions. A nice play by the sophomore Josh Harris.
And it's, like I said, it's good, because you don't want Reed Golson getting hurt in a game that would now seem to be well within your hands. But also you want to get your sophomore some experience. Reed Golson will be graduating after next year. And you never know. You never know when something bad might happen, when you might need that backup quarterback. So very good time to get him in and get some playing experience.
Absolutely. Harris looks in from the sideline. He has a receiver left, receiver right, 2 running backs. He's going to keep the option himself, finds a seam, pushes forward down past the 45, then push back, but they'll give him forward progress, Tim. Mark around the 45-yard line. That'll bring up about a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3 possibly for the Lions. I like that heads-up play. Good vision by Harris, the quarterback.
He can run the option too. Good to see that. And again, this is our first chance to really start taking him in. I've heard a lot about him how he's really impressed a lot of coaches in practice. But now he's getting a chance to do something in the game.
For the Indians, if you're an Indians fan, Freeman, 11 tackles on the day. Levens, 15 tackles, and Chamberlain, 9 tackles. And they've had plenty of tackles to have with the SAGU Lions moving their offense.
As we see a rainbow there on the horizon of the sky, as the Lions going towards the pot of gold. That is a win here at home that they haven't been able to find over the last 2 years.
And from our angle, the pot of gold steers right down in the end zone. So I don't know what that means, but at the end of the rainbow, it could be another touchdown for the Lions. And that was the 15th tackle by Levens for the Indians, having a great, outstanding game. A freshman from Missouri, Mark Levens, Neosho, Missouri.
So now 3rd and 2 at the 44-yard line. Clock now under 9:45 remaining.
I'd like to see Harris put one in the end zone on a pass. Just like to see a young kid come in and make some plays. He's kind of auditioning for the starting role after Golson graduates likely, so he's going to go back to pass. He scrambles now, decides to run right, pushes forward past the 35, down to the 33-yard line. And again, Harris not afraid to take it and run.
And good awareness right there of the fact that he did not have the open receivers, saw a big gap off to the right, took off running, got the easy first down, and the Lions are again clicking down into Haskell territory as the clock continues to run down on what is a great day for the SAGU Lions.
And you're seeing a host of subs come in. Number 87, Eric Wenshiag. I think I said his name right. I hope I did. And some other second string players getting some good quality playing time. May play most of the fourth quarter as the Lions are up comfortably, but here first is Lushner still in the game.
Looks like a stoppage before there. Yeah. Flag comes in, and it will be a false start on the Lions. Welcome back 5 and bring up a 1st and 15 from the 39-yard line.
This is a good play for Gotti. To get these players in, they don't get to play a whole lot, and the game really not in question. And maybe he's auditioning for next year's players who are going to be replacing seniors who are on the squad this year. So I love to see second stringers get quality playing time more than just one series at the end of a game when it's time to kneel down. So
and
this is good.
Football's a game of snap decisions too. Sometimes a guy's just not having a good game, and you don't know who to go to, because if you haven't had a chance to really audition the guys, you may feel compelled just to leave that guy in. If these guys come out and prove themselves to you now, then you say, okay, yeah, I can't afford to put them in. Sometimes a pitcher has a bad game, sometimes a quarterback has a bad game. In baseball, you just pull the pitcher. It's a lot harder just to pull that quarterback, but if you can know that you've got good backups behind you, that can really help that
Harris
decision.
Takes the snap, but another whistle before the snap, and we're just having a hard time getting a play underway here as the ball remains at the 39-yard line.
Delay of game on the Lions this time, so that's going to put us back to the 44 and bring up a 1st and 20 for the Lions.
Well, now Harris is probably certain to pass either on 1st or 2nd down, so we'll have a chance to see how his arm plays out when the Indians' defense is going to be in definitely a pass defense mode on 1st and 20. If not this down, likely in the next down, you'll see a pass play from Harris. So let's see if he can advance the ball for the Lions. As he takes the snap, he's going to keep it himself on an option play, follows a lead block from the running back, Cade Lushner, and he pushes himself forward down to about the 37-yard line.
We have an injured line down the field. It's Craig
Press
Campbell,
reporting live
Jr.
with my cheerleading friends.
He's up
Back to you.
himself, though, as he was only down momentarily. Perhaps he's got the wind knocked out of him.
Had a touchdown earlier in the game in the first half.
And so now they'll bring up 2nd and about 14 yards.
And the sun looks like it might be here to stay, Mr. Kim, and that rainbow is getting stronger by the moment. Somewhere, I won't sing it. I can't do that. I don't want to turn the viewers away.
And there's another
penalty. And I think if we're ready, we'll go and take it down to one of our sideline reporters in just a moment. After this play, we're going to have a report from the sidelines, but first let's see what the call is here, Tim.
It will be a false start, I believe, and so it'll be 2nd and 19 for the Lions.
As the clock continues to run, Tim, I'm surprised the clock is running.
Yeah, they are rolling the clock after these penalties. And so they are going to a semi-running clock here as Lushner takes the ball, sprinting down inside to the 30-yard line.
Whoa, big hit.
Hard. The big game for Cade Lushner.
Lane Freeman again.
Let's head down to Jessica Price on the sideline. Jessica?
Hey guys, I'm out here again with two of our very own SAGU cheerleaders, Kendra Abels and Tiffany Heathcock. It's been raining and unfortunately some of our crowds disappeared, but you guys stuck it out. What made you so determined to stay, Kendra?
I'm just really excited about this win, and I just want to stay out here and support them through it. It's just been an awesome game and homecoming.
Awesome.
All right, we're back in play. We'll maybe check back with
Great. There's a lot of talent on that field, as you can tell. And this game has been one of the best games by far. And I'm just supporting my brother, number 8. Woo!
Ooh, awesome. Well, sun's coming out. Hopefully the boys keep up the momentum and finish strong. Jessica Price reporting live with my two cheerleading friends. Back to you.
Thank you, Jessica. Brings up now a 4th and 3 on the field of play, and I think they might be lining up for a field goal, Mr. Roberts.
Looks like James Gish is going to come out trying what will be a 44-yard field goal, actually, trying to redeem himself from his earlier miss, which messed up his perfect season average. But now, without so much of a wind in his face, he will have a chance to make this a 38-0 ball game.
45 yards is well within his reach with this wind, and the kick is up. It's got enough. Is it true? It is true, and the Lions now go up 38-0 on the sure foot of James Gish, and he's got to feel better about himself now. Forget that miss. You've now got to make it. And I think you were 8 for 9 now in the year. Is that right?
8 for 9 in the year, which, like I said, is a very good average. He had a pretty rough year last year, but he's coming alive this year, and he puts the Lions up 38-0. The clock down to 5:24 now, as the Indians will get the ball for perhaps their last time of the game, after Josh Harris comes in for the Lions and orchestrates a scoring drive. It goes 10 plays, 37 yards in 7:25.
A lot of clock.
For 44 yards. That's a 44-yard field goal. That's a lot of plays.
For a field goal.
For a field goal and for just 34 yards. That's all they had to go. 37 yards, I'm sorry. And they take 7:25 off the clock. So the Lions will now go back to kick it off safely ahead 38-0 here on homecoming Saturday in Waxahachie, Texas for the SAGU Lions.
And Lushner, who got the ball quite a bit on that drive, now nearing the 100-yard mark. He sits at 96 yards for the day, does Cade Lushner. Here comes Gish again the 35-yard line. So the Haskell Indians find themselves in a 38-0 hole. Just looking at this point, just to finish out strong, maybe put 7 on the board, maybe just a field goal, because the Lions have this game well in hand and look good today. Look good offensively, defensively. Tim, really impressive play overall by the purple and gold, as the ball's taken just inside, and he almost stepped out but chose to stay inside the end zone. But that was real close there, Tim. He almost decided to go for it, and he would have been met by a host of Lions around the 10-yard line.
Yeah, smart move there, down 38. Don't risk it. They risked it once, and that resulted in the quick fumble, which put SAGU up 35-0. Really has been a complete effort. You've had turnovers forced by the defense. The offense has just kept things clicking, and this is the game you needed. Playing against Haskell, a team they've been able to beat a lot in the past, a team that you're kind of looking at going, okay, this is a game we should be able to win. And before you can win the games you're not supposed to win, you have to win the games you're supposed to win.
True.
And that's exactly what the Lions have done here today. They've come out and put on an impressive all-around ball game. Defense, if you get the Lions defense, you kind of want to hold strong here. You want to go ahead and hold for the next 5:24 and pitch this shutout, as the Indians have again put in number 5, Terrell Ramsey at quarterback. Last time he came in to the game, he was quickly sacked twice by Dalton Snyder, and that led to an Indians punt. That play is overthrown by a good margin.
We'll be announcing shortly our player of the game, and we'll try to get an interview with that player of the game at the conclusion of today's broadcast, as we're nearing 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. A lot of good players to choose from, but we'll have one for you with that interview hopefully after this ball game concludes, as a run around the left side for a minimal gain as the clock keeps running.
Like I said, if the Lions defense, you know you have the game won right now, but there's something about pitching that shutout. Plus, as long as you can keep the Indians in check, you may be able to hold them under 100 yards total offense on the game, I believe.
That would be a great goal at this point. Again, they had 110 at the end of the third, but you're talking about
at the end of half, actually at 110. But they lost a good amount of yardage in the third quarter. I can't quote from memory where they are exactly at the moment, but
again, it was 86. Check that after the third quarter. So we'll try to find out what their total yardage is on the ground. Here's a pass play down to about the 27-yard line, complete as the clock continues to run. And here comes the punting unit, it appears, for the Haskell Lions as they're ready to go ahead and just give the ball back to the Lions and hope that they just run the clock out deep in their own territory. They don't want to rush or risk a fourth down. 117 yards we've just learned total on the ground. So
total overall for the Indians.
Overall.
So the goal of keeping them under 100. They did have that brief drive into the Lions territory. This is a high, short punt. Will take an Indians bounce up to around the 50-yard line, exactly the 50-yard line. So the Lions defense, they don't get the goal keeping under 100, but at the moment it seems they do have a shutout as the Lions offense will come onto the field. Just 3:54 to kill on this game.
So Tim, what do you take away from this game? If you're Coach Gotting, what do you tell the troops in the moments after the game? What do you tell them on like a Wednesday, Thursday practice, coming off a huge win like this on a homecoming weekend?
Well, I mean, you did exactly what you had to do. Just to be a little bit blunt, if you had lost to Haskell, it would have been an upset. You could not lose to Haskell. This is the game that you had to come out and win. And you had to win by a good margin. That's exactly what they've done. They've done exactly what they had to do to get this season back on track. Now you get to go play Wayland Baptist next week, a team who is playing their first football season since the 40s.
Option play out to Winston.
He gets brought down for a loss of about 4 yards. So you look ahead to next week now against the Wayland Baptist Pioneers.
Let's talk about that.
They are a first-year program, technically. They have not had a football program since the 1940s. You're going into their stadium, though, and I believe we are going in for their homecoming game. I believe this is going to be their homecoming game for the season. So they're fired up. They actually beat, get this, they beat Howard Payne, just like we did. So they may be more of a match than some people have expected playing in their very first year of football as Winston gets the carry. He will edge his way up into Indian territory.
And again, Gotting just keeping the ball on the ground, ready to go ahead and end this game mercifully as the clock continues to tick under 3 minutes. So Wayland Baptist, not a program since the 40s, back in play, and they're on our schedule. Are they in our conference as well?
They will be in the Central States Football League starting next year. They are technically in it right now, but as it's their first year, you go through, it's called the probationary period, but it's not like you're not on probation. You haven't done anything wrong. You will just wait a year before they're technically out of the conference game.
Complete down to the 40, the 35, push out of bounds to the 30-yard line. Harrison, pass complete.
Darian McCarthy with the catch, freshman out of Duncanville. So Lions going deep to their bench now, giving these guys some playing time.
And the clock did stop when the ball went out of bounds. So you mentioned earlier a semi-running clock, so I guess they decided to stop the clock.
Well, no, they stopped the clock to move the chain.
And
that's
the chain
first down.
Being moved, sure.
So, yeah, but that's Wayland Baptist is one of those games that you kind of think you got a good chance to win. They're a young program, team that you should have the veteran experience over, and it's a game that you need to have because then you're going to go into Oklahoma Panhandle State and into Langston. Tough games. And that is going to be Langston's homecoming, as it is every year that we go up there and play, it seems. That will be a packed stadium. That is a big stadium full of rabid Red Lions fans. They're the Lions up there too, and we got a great rivalry with them on the basketball court. And it'd be nice if the football team could find a way to steal it away from them, but they've got 2 tough games after that.
Hand off to Lushner again and stop for no gain. And then the final game of the season, Tim, will be November 10th against Texas College right here at Lumpkin Stadium.
Yeah, so we'll be right back here for that one. It's going to be senior day. It's going to be a big game. That's another day that
we should win this game. They're 1-5, Texas College.
Yeah, you look at Texas College, and that's a game that you would deem winnable. Now, the way the Lions have played against teams like Texas Lutheran and Bethany, you could say, well, every game is winnable. There's no games the Lions can't win, and unfortunately, as with Austin College, there's no game that you can't be stunned on. Now, timeout called by the Indians, perhaps hoping to get the ball back one more time, so the clock will stop with 1:12 remaining.
That's puzzling. So if the Lions are able to go on a run, they could enter that last game at 5-4, and that sets up, well, it would guarantee a 500 season, but it sets up what you really wanted to see this year, and that would be the first winning season.
And it would take a lot. It would take a big run, but with just, you know, just definitely with that one. They would have to beat Wayland next week, which I think is a very winnable game for them. But like I said, going against Oklahoma Panhandle State, a team you've beaten before. You've had some success in the past with them, but Langston's going to be the toughest one on that schedule.
That's the one.
That's the toughest one always for the Lions. Although last year, SAGU held a lead midway in the third quarter against Langston, held an 11-point lead, I believe, against Langston, midway through the third quarter before Langston was able to pile it on late and win by, I believe, a margin of around 62-38. So it was a high-scoring affair up in Oklahoma that day. But at the very least, if the Lions can beat Wayland next week and take one of those two against Langston or Langston or Oklahoma Panhandle State, then you can come right back here against Texas College with a chance to get to 500, which again is a mark we have never seen before here at SAGU.
So the season is not over. There's a lot of good football left, and the Lions will wrap this game up with an easy shutout win, barring any kind of unbelievable turnover, and that's an incomplete pass, it appears, although the running back was still running, but now the whistles blow. And we're now close to a minute left, and it's going to be, I believe, 4th and still about 6 or 7.
Yeah, be a 4th and 7.
I'm not sure why Haskell called timeout there a moment ago.
Yeah, I think their only reasoning might be the possibility of getting the ball back, and at this point you're just desperate for any sort of long distance score. It's definitely a little bit late for that, though, as the Lions, it will appear they'll go for it here rather than kicking the field goal, which would just be putting points up when you know you have the game. So instead they'll go for it, try to get the first down to end the game.
And look for Harris to throw on 4th and 8. He sends 5 receivers out, and he decides to take it himself, but here's a whistle and another set of flags.
False start on the Lions will move the ball back 5 yards. So with the Lions up 38, the last 2 minutes are not going very quickly by. The Lions will face a 4th and 13. Now it looks like they'll keep their offense on the field, though. I would probably imagine a different play. It looked like a design run. Actually, no. Now they'll bring out James Gish. They've moved back far enough now that they don't feel comfortable going for it. And I suppose if Haskell's
calls timeout, then perhaps we'll say, fine, we'll go to kick a field goal if you want to play that game. So,
well, actually, let's see what.
Well, they're going to line up for a field goal.
Yeah, it will be a field goal.
It's going to be a 50-yard field goal attempt from kicker James Gish, who is 8 for 9 on the year. Would this be his long for the year, Tim?
I believe it would. I know he kicked one from about 48, but he has the wind in his back.
Here's the kick from Gish, the left-footed kicker. He's got the distance. Is it through? It's good! And Gish nails a 50-yard field goal to put the Lions up 41-0 on a punctuation mark on this shutout victory today.
Yeah, great kick by Gish. I wasn't sure it was going to have enough, and if he hadn't had the wind at his back, it might not have been enough, but he got just over the crossbar. He's now 2 for 3 on the game, erasing that memory of that unfortunate miss in the third quarter into the wind and the rain.
The thing about those kicks, Tim, is it's different kick than a chip shot 20-yarder. You have to drive it lower to get the distance and then hope it rises, where on a short chip you're going straight up in the air. So hats off to Gish for driving that ball through. Hats off to the offensive line for keeping the defender's hands down to give Gish that space he needed to punch it through low and then high.
Yeah, that was a 7-play drive for 17 yards, and it took 2:40 off of the game clock as the Lions end it with a 50-yard field goal from James Gish.
He'll sleep well
tonight.
Yeah,
he's
happy again.
He's now 9 for 10 on the season as he just crushes that one through, and the Lions are up 41-0. The defense will come back out on the field one more time. Haskell holding a timeout. I'd be surprised if they really tried to. I suppose if they're trying to get in a score, they may end up using it.
Might.
The only drama left now is whether or not the Lions defense can hold for a minute 7 and keep that 0 up on the board.
I see no reason why they won't. They've played a great 59 minutes so far, and I'm sure they'll just wrap this up. But we'll find out as the kick is up and away, deep into the end zone, and they'll take a knee and set up at the 25-yard line with about a minute 7 left to try to break this shutout that the Lions are pitching. Speaking of pitching, did you watch the baseball game last night?
I'm not going to lie, I have not been watching much baseball.
My Cardinals had an unbelievable comeback. Big Cardinal fan, so I'll have to just brag on my St. Louis team. Down to their last strike twice, and somehow, miraculously, the cardiac Cardinals pulled out a win to take out the upstart Washington. So, anyway, I love it.
Haskell on the day has run 31 times and gained only 27 yards. That's an average of 0.9 yards a rush.
Ouch.
This SAGU defense, we talked about how they had to, I talked about how Haskell needs to establish the run and go against this, what's not a very good front line. Well, this front line has proven themselves today.
That's a fumble.
No, they're going to call it incomplete.
That was thrown backwards at least a yard, Tim. I'm really puzzled that the refs called that an incomplete pass. That was clearly thrown around the 23 and caught at the 22-yard line. But it is ruled incomplete, perhaps a mercy call by the referee. Otherwise, that could have been a live ball, and the SAGU Lions could have picked it up and run with it. But whistle blew, makes it 2nd and 10 with 1 minute and 1 second left on the clock. And there's a scramble left by the quarterback, number 5, Terrell Ramsey. He takes it forward and pushed down to the ground around the 30-yard line. The clock will run. Under 50 seconds to play. They do have 1 timeout left, Tim, but I'm just not sure they can manage the ball to go 70 yards with now 44 seconds.
They're going no huddle and hurrying up to the 30-yard line. They're trying to get something going here, but it's far too late at this point.
Ramsey now rolls right, stops, fires left, short down the middle. Nothing but purple and gold linebackers, or purple shirted linebackers. They're waiting for it, but thankfully it was thrown low enough, not picked off for the Indians.
And so now 4th and 5 will come up. The Lions have forced a lot of turnover on downs today, as the Indians have been going for it on 4th for really from the 2nd quarter on. They've been going for it, knowing that they were down and needing a spark. And now they'll go for it one more time as the Lions defense will line up trying to secure their shutout. It's nice to have a game occasionally where the biggest drama at the end is whether you're going to have a shutout or not.
I like that kind of drama. Here's a short dump pass, and is it picked off?
Incomplete.
Just out of bounds. He did catch it, but he didn't have a foot in bounds, so.
Looked like that was Deontay Morrison, almost had the pick, but either way, it'll be a turnover on downs, and the Lions will trot out, prepared to go into the victory formation, leading 41-0 and about to win 41-0.
So the Lions will improve to 2-4 on the season, and the shot for both a 500 and a winning season is still in play. So hats off to Coach Godding and his team for coming out, doing what they had to do. Like you said, Tim, it's a homecoming game. The fans have come from all around the state and the U.S. to be with family and friends and watch a great football game, and the Lions delivered this afternoon.
Yeah, they really did. From the beginning, they scored on their very first drive of the game to go up 7-0. And, of course, we talked about the turning point with the Brad Heathcock interception. But all the way up to that, it was pretty much Lions beginning, middle, and end. So the Indians will not use their final timeout, and the Lions will run the clock down to 0. Your final score, the SAGU Lions 41, the Haskell University Fighting Indians 0. We'll be right back with post-game comments right after this.
In Stadium, and the Lions a huge 41-0 win. And let's take it down now to the field. Bianca Alarcon has our player of the game with her. Bianca.
I'm here with player of the game, our very own quarterback, Reed Golson. Now, Reed, it was an intense game today with intense weather conditions. You pulled through with the rain and the wind. How does it feel to have won the most important game of the season, homecoming?
It feels good to come out and get a well-needed win for homecoming. And we're glad we got our guys some good stats, too, to go along with it.
And how much of an effect did the weather have on your running game tonight?
Well, we came in the game, we practiced it all week, wanted to run the ball, and I think we came out and ran for about 350 yards or something like that, and it was a total team effort. Give big credit to the line. They played great.
And tell us about the 2 touchdown passes that you did have to Morphew and Campbell.
The first one to Nick Morphew, my high school teammate. It was kind of a broken play. Rolled out, he wasn't open, and we have team chemistry, good bond from years of playing, and he got open, got past the defense. And on Craig, he's a freshman. He actually had to step in that position this week, and it was just a play action. Dumped it to him, got an easy score.
So he definitely stepped up to the plate on that one, huh?
Yes, he did.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Reed, and good luck next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Bianca, and thank you, Reed Golson. Well, let's hit some final stats
Okay, let's
here,
do it. We've just been handed them,
some
so.
happy stats for
I like
once
happy
up here.
stats.
I like happy stats. I like stats where you just get to talk about a bunch of great SAGU efforts over the game. First of all, you guys just got to highlight this absolute monster rushing attack for the Lions today. We talked about how you talked about that was one of the keys to the game, how they need to fight through what they're averaging about 112 yards a game.
Yes, that's what they
112 yards a game.
Not today.
Go ahead and start marking that average up. They ran for 366 yards on the day. Reed Golson, your player of the game, had 132 yards. Obviously, the monster 80-yard touchdown. Broken play, who cares? He ran 80 yards. He was awesome. Kay Lushner just too shy of the century mark, 98 yards. Styles Winston coming out of nowhere. Haven't seen him much this year, but he runs for 68 yards.
Two touchdowns
in the first half. Great day for him. McDonald ran for 39, and then Josh Harris coming in late ran for 23 yards. So that rushing attack all over the place. Reed Golson through the air threw for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And Campbell Jr., 1 rush, but a score, a 6-yard scamper.
Yep, so just a great game all the way around for all these players. Receiving-wise, McDonald leading the way, 4 catches for 38 yards. Morphew and Campbell Jr. each had a touchdown reception. So, I mean, just great stats on this offense.
And defensively, they pitched a shutout and a handful of tacklers leading the way, well, led by Dalton Snyder with 6. But then about 3 players had 5 tackles. Josh Aldrich, Brad Heathcock, Kendall Evers. So, and the list goes on. A handful of a team-led tackling offensive put out today. Defensive put out today.
Yeah, looking over at Haskell, they had 1 stand-up player. Mark Levens had 17 total tackles on the game. Playing back, he was having to tackle a lot of players 6 or 7 yards down the field, and that's exactly what the Lions did. They averaged, I believe, 6.5 yards a play today. That's a great average compared to the Indians, who could only muster 1.8 yards a play, only 124 yards on the day for the Indians. So the Lions defense is that pitching the shutout, 3 big turnovers for the Lions defense. They had the interception. Let's recap them again. After Reed Golson threw the interception deep in his own territory, Nicky Confall with immediate interception. The Lions scored a few plays later, go up 14-0. After a fumble deep in Indians territory again, Brad Heathcock with a big interception. Next play is Reed Golson's 80-yard touchdown run. Then on a kickoff, the defense forces another turnover, and the Lions offense scores a touchdown there. 3 turnovers resulting in 21 points and huge momentum swing. So hats off the defense, hats off to the offense. Great all-around day here in Waxahachie.
On homecoming Saturday, if there is a down spot, it's Gish, but he still made 2 out of 3.
Oh, more than
including
filled
a
up.
50-yarder, but he did miss his first of the field goal attempts. But, hey, 9 out of 10 is a great start.
Especially when you hit that 50 and 44-yarder to round out the scoring for the Lions. So it's a 41-0 win. It's a great one.
Well, our next broadcast for football is the last of the season. It's going to be November 10th against Texas College. And, again, Texas College, I think, has 1-5 on the year. So it could be another win for the SAGU Lions. And that, if, like you said earlier, if we get on a run, that could put us 6-4 if we're 5-4 going into the last game of the season.
So that we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. We'll keep you up to date. Stay tuned to the website to know what we're looking forward to that game. So they go on a 3-week road swing right now. So we won't be back here at Lumpkin Stadium until November 10th. But we're out at Lions Field next Saturday for a soccer doubleheader, noon and 2 o'clock. Women's game first, men's game second. It's their home closer. It's their next to last conference game of the year. So we're talking about huge playoff implications here, both in the Red River Conference and the NCCAA. The women's team is actually, last time I checked earlier today, they were in 6th place in the Red River Conference, which is good enough for a Red River Conference berth. They've already set their wins record. So going into that game, the women's team has a very solid chance of perhaps coming in and getting to their very first conference tournament appearance. And the men's team, you know, they're trying to find their way back in. They won the Central region for NCCAA last year. So be sure and tune in next week at noon for the soccer doubleheader. It's going to be some great action in a very crucial game for SAGU soccer.
On behalf of our statisticians, our crew from the SAGU Sports Live Update Show, thanks for watching us today on the SAGU Sports Live Network, the leader in NAIA high-definition broadcast internet streaming. We'll see you next time here at SAGU Sports Live. God bless.